Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we got 5 builds to try in 7.32D. A very exciting patch we're getting into. Either way, let's get into 5 builds. I'm sorry, actually I have 6 builds. 6 builds you can try here today in 7.32D to have a little bit of fun and play some heroes that I think are very strong with item builds that make these heroes even stronger. Also, I want to tell you guys that if you've been struggling with solo queue and you're looking to get to the next rank, I'm going to be able to help you. Like literally with the Game Leap website, I'm going to give you guys guides that are going to make it unbelievably clear on what you need to do. So if you've been stuck in the solo queue grind, you don't know what to do, and you want to become absolutely broken, but like actually you want to become much better at Dota, and you want to take it more seriously, the Game Leap website is going to help you do that. So click the link down below. I'm going to help you get to the next rank, and I'll see you there. Alright, so getting into the first hero I highly recommend was one of the most buffed heroes of the patch, and that was Storm Spirit. Going from 0.5 mana regen to 0.6 base mana regen. That's a whole 0.1 mana regen, meaning that this hero is just absolutely broken and is probably the best mid laner of the patch. I mean, what is that? Every minute that's like an extra 6 mana or something like that? Are you kidding me? I mean, what a genius change from Valve. Getting to the second build, and this one's more serious, all right? Maybe I was joking a little bit with the Storm Spirit one, but we have TIMBERSAW with the Shard Rush. The TIMBERSAW's Shard got buffed so significantly in this recent patch, going from 7-second duration to an 8-second duration. I mean, it's to the point where honestly, I think TIMBERSAW is gonna have to be first phase banned in every single pro game, because how can you deal with an 8-second flamethrower when it only used to be 7 seconds long? I mean, that's an insane change, so definitely keep Timber in mind. All right, for the next build, because, you know, okay, maybe Timber and Storm messing around a little bit. I'm just joking, but RUBICK mid lane. So RUBICK received one of the craziest changes of the patch, and that is 3 base damage. I mean, it's just insane. Like, what can't this hero do, especially from the mid lane, because of his 3 base damage change? All right, actually, guys, I'll stop. You know, I just kind of wanted to complain because, like, I make this video after every patch because I like it. I like talking about builds. I'm not gonna lie though, there isn't that many builds to try out. But I'm gonna give you a couple builds that I do think are meta. Most of these builds were buffed in one way or another. So yes, I think every single build on this list is more viable in the past and is quite powerful if used in the right way. So let's get into it and let's talk about these 6 builds. So first off, we have Doom position 3. I really think Doom is one of the best heroes of the patch. You just have to learn how to play greedy. So go with the build that I recommend, okay? Most lanes, well, there's a few item builds you can start out with, but if it's a high physical damage lane, you can go for Wraithband. It just feels really great to have the attack speed on Doom. Like, this hero hits so hard, so it really allows you to trade with the bonus armor and the bonus attack speed on Doom. So typically you're gonna start with both of the Wraithband components, 2 branches, a Quelling Blade, and Tangos. Sometimes you can replace one of the branches for a Mango. I like that build as well. So basically you get some starting items, you rush a Wraithband. If the lane is difficult, you buy another set of Tangos. From there, you're gonna pick up Boots. After Boots, you straight up rush Midas. And this is where things get really fun. You're gonna max out your Scorched Earth, right? So you wanna put all the points you possibly can into Scorched Earth. Generally, some lanes are gonna be really hard and almost completely unplayable or uncontestable. In those lanes, it's okay to max the Devour and play to just get what you can. But in the majority of matchups, they're pretty winnable, and you can max Scorched Earth and put a lot of pressure. This ability was also buffed in this patch, going from 18 damage at level 1 to 20, and from 60 at max to 65. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but you have to keep in mind 18 to 20 damage at level 1, if you keep it on the opponent for the entirety of the time, or on the creep wave, it ends up being an extra 20 damage. And no, that's not going to break the game, and it doesn't make Doom completely broken, but I think the hero was good already, so the fact that it got a slightly better laning stage when it was already a pretty good laner is definitely notable. But after you pick up the Midas, I recommend going straight into BKB. After BKB, go Boots of Travel if you want to be giga greedy and you just want to split push the waves. That's personally my favorite way to play. After that, you're going to go Blink Dagger. After Blink Dagger, you're going to go into Aether Lens and then into Octarine. Some games picking up the Shard before the Octarine is good because it increases your Infernal Blade to stun longer based on the enemy's level, and do a flat 150 extra damage, which is very great. After the Octarine, this is where things get crazy, really crazy. You go into Ags or Refresher and you just doom people off cooldown, considering you have a level 20 Doom cooldown talent. The next build I want to talk about is BROODMOTHER. Don't worry, not every single build is an offlaner, but I just want to start with 2 offlaners I think are very powerful and that I'm very passionate about. And the second one being BROODMOTHER. So BROODMOTHER actually got nerfed. The Spiderlings give less vision and the Ags is slightly worse, but that's it. This hero is still a dirty laner can really control the game and can take all your towers. I will say that I think Brood is hard, and I recommend watching one of my Brood videos on the website. I have some on my second channel. So basically you can, watch one of those videos and hopefully pop off with that. But here comes the new build I recommend, because you can't go Wraith Pact anymore. The item is quite garbage, and I'm glad that it's garbage. I'm happy that that was one of the changes that Valve made. I think that's awesome. It's spicy. I get to try some different item builds, and I played a Brood game today, actually an official game, where I tried out a build on Brood, and it went great. And here's the build. So starting item, pretty standard. You're going to get Wraith Band components, branches, Quelling Blade, Tangos. After that, you're going to buy a Wraith Band. If the lane is easy, you buy an Orb of Venom. If it's hard, you just rush boots. From there, I like to personally buy a Gloves of Haste. I think it just works too well with the Insatiable Hunger, right? A lot of people rush Mana Boots. I just don't like it, especially if you're in a winning lane. I really prefer this, right? This Gloves of Haste. I just really prefer this Gloves of Haste. I've even been tempted to start considering buying Gloves of Haste into Mana Boots and a Midas, which sounds insane, but this hero scales so well. I'm gonna try it in some pubs. I'm not kidding. I'm gonna try Midas Brood. No joke. Like a right click kind of Midas Brood. I'll let you guys know how it goes. But the game I went Treads, so I didn't go too crazy. I went Treads. After the Treads, I went for Soul Ring, and I dominated my lane, completely popped off, crushed the enemy. I was against the Undying Pudge, which isn't even that easy, but ended up just crushing them later on into the lane with the Insatiable Hunger, Orb of Venom, and Gloves of Haste timing. So from there, dominate the lane. After you get your Treads, you go Soul Ring. After Soul Ring, I bought a Bassi. Honestly, I think you need a lot of mana regen, right? So the Bassi's good. I didn't upgrade it into anything, which kind of makes me feel like maybe there's better things you can buy, such as just a casual Sage's Mask. I didn't, because I'm not building the Bassi into the Vlads, you don't really need it, so it's probably better to buy Raindrops or Sage's Mask. From there, I went straight into Pipe, right? And the reason why Pipe is so good is it got buffed actually from 400 total block to 450. And that 450 block, the AoE block you give to yourself and your teammates, also works on spiders, which is incredible. Because heroes, let's say like Crystal Maiden or Leshrac, that could typically easily kill your spiders if you try to kill them, or let's say Doom and Scorcher, that was an example in my game. You just pipe the spiders and then you Silk and Bola the enemy and you can actually kill them. It's absolutely incredible. It's this really cheap item that you can buy early on. The Hood of Defiance allows you to play pretty aggressive early on too, and if you get ganked, you can often survive because Hood of Defiance is an incredible defensive item. The Casual Cloak as well is great. And then, yeah, this Pipe buffs up your spiders, buffs up your team. From there, I buy Drums. Drums got buffed, actually. It's 50 gold cheaper for who knows what reason, but it did. And I think this item was already broken and is now slightly more broken. And why is Drums good? Well, I bought Treads, and now I have Drums, so I have a ton of attack speed with Insatiable Hunger. That's great. Drums are really good on the spiders, because when you pipe the spiders, they stay alive, and when you drums the spiders, they hit faster, and you shred heroes and buildings with the drums. The damage increase is really notable. I'm almost surprised we didn't see more drums out of Broods in the past, because I honestly think this item is fantastic on BROODMOTHER. It feels great. From there, I decided to go for an Assault Cuirass, and you can see how crazy this can get. If you get to level 18 and you build up a crazy amount of spiders and you drums and have an Assault Cuirass, the tier 2s and tier 3s, they disappear. They disappear. If the enemy doesn't respect you and ignores you split pushing, they'll lose racks. I'm not kidding. It is that good. And you might be like, oh, but you're doubling down on spiders. It's like, why not? You pipe them, right? You pipe the spiders, you build them up fast. Right? I will say one thing, you have to spam a ton of clarities because you don't have mana boots if you go this build. I still think mana boots are good. I think Gloves of Haste and a casual mana boots are fine, but because honestly, you do have mana problems. If you only go Soul Ring, even with Soul Ring Bassi, you don't have enough mana. You have to buy, like I'm buying 2 clarities every time I ship out an item, which hurts your net worth a bit, but you need it because like you need to keep building spiders so you can build net worth. And then, yeah, I bought an AC. From there, I went BKB into Shard. The Shard just gives you damage on Insatiable Hunger and longer duration. And with the BKB and the AC and the drums, I can actually right-click people. And yeah, it just felt great. I took the Agi Talon, actually at level 20 as well. Obviously, if you're against an Illusion hero, I probably wouldn't go this route. I would probably go for like an Octarine and the AoE Silk and Bola Talon at level 20 because it's like a hard counter illusions. But yeah, either way, I'm going to probably make a Brood video on this channel because I think this hero is so fun, so awesome, and so strong right now. But yeah, that's the build I recommend. All right, next up, let's get into a mid laner actually, and that's Queen of Pain. Queen of Pain got one of the biggest buffs of the patch, reducing her ulti from 125-second cooldown at level 1, or flat actually, it was a flat 125 at all levels, to 110 at level 1, and all the way down to 90 at max, which is incredibly good. Like really, really good. This hero is much better now. Actually, the tempo it can play with a much lower cooldown on the ulti, and by the way, Quap ulti is so strong. It's such a powerful early game ability, but it was a very, very long cooldown. right? You compare something to something like Laguna Blade or Pulse Nova, right? It's just a cooldown problem, right? This QoP hero just has this massive cooldown problem, and I'm not going to tell you 110 seconds is nothing, but it's certainly way better than 125. That extra 15 seconds is going to be it's a deal breaker, right? It's huge. And then going from 125 to 90 is insanely good. So the build I recommend, pretty standard, but you know, bottle, normal starting items, tangos, 3 branches, fairy fire, into bottle, into stick, after stick, boots, into wand, raindrops if you need them. After that, you go treads, and then into witchblade. That's the item I recommend. I think it's just the best QoP item. You can play very high tempo. It gives you armor, which you desperately need. A little bit of int. I think playing QoP in a right-click way is good. She has very good stats and a good base attack time, good attack range. But then from there, you can kind of go back into a bit of a magic / tanky build with a Kaya Sange. Works well with the Witchblade, with the spell amp. Allows you to farm like crazy, especially if you end up picking up your shard. The Kaya helps you sustain the split pushing and all the farming you're going to do. And with Witchblade, you're going to notice you can farm large camps very, very easily. You hit the largest creep with your Witchblade, scream, and you can kill the camp quite quickly, meaning that QoP can scale very well. And she does, right? She scales quite well, and with her ulti buff, she scales even better now. So I'm definitely a fan of this hero. After the Kaya Sange, obviously you can go a plethora of different items. You could go back for Orchid if the enemy team isn't buying Dispels, into Bloodthorn. You could go BKB if you desperately need it. I wouldn't recommend going Ags because it lowers the cooldown, but the cooldown's just better now anyway. Actually, no, oh no, they changed the Ags. I'm so stupid. It's like the AoE dagger thing now. I've seen it a couple times. Personally, it doesn't look good to me. I recommend just scaling with right clicks. From there, you can go BKB into Bloodthorn, BKB into AC, AC into Satanic. There's a lot of different builds you can go. I've seen some Mjolnirs because it works well with the spell amp, right? The shield and the proc. So there's some cool different builds you can go. I would recommend just testing a couple different builds, but the first 2 items are the most important there. Next up is Leech Seed Treant. So Leech Seed Treant is a cool one. So the cast range got buffed. It was 400 flat, and it's still 400 at level 1, but if you max it out, it goes all the way up to a 550 cast range, which is really crazy because this ability is quite powerful. It does damage and heals for 65. And you have to keep in mind, this is for 5 seconds, so it's a 325 damage nuke, right, which is pretty crazy. And then it also heals for that much, meaning you can also put it on creep waves to help siege better, right, as it's going to heal your entire wave. You can heal up your teammates with it. It's very powerful when you max this ability out, as it now goes up in cast range, it goes up in movement speed slow, and it goes down in cooldown. So very, very powerful build to max the Q, max the W, and then max the E. And honestly, I think this build is pretty viable because Treant's E, it is something you do want, you really do want to max it out. Treant's E scales extremely well, almost to the point where I will say that I think maxing E if you're a 5 is better. I think this build is best as a position for Treant so that you can be a bit more greedy, play higher tempo, get a bit more active with kills, right? Because Living Armor scales so damn well where it's hard not to justify maxing it out. I'm not going to lie to you guys, right? It scales so well. But this Leech Seed also can get very, very active. And the build I recommend going is actually Meteor Hammer, because you synergize, like, you do so much damage. They also buffed the Overgrowth. It does 85 damage instead of 75 now, which isn't crazy. It's only 30 more damage at level 1 and 50 more at max, which is like kind of stupid. It's like such a weird change, but it's 30 more damage. Combine that with the Meteor Hammer and the longer cast range of the Leech Seed, and you're going to be able to just poke people down and chip them down from a really, really far range, right? You can just destroy people's HP. And it's powerful. It's very powerful. So you can go the Meteor Hammer, or you can go Holy Locket. Obviously, it depends on the game. The Holy Locket's good because it works on the heal with Living Armor. If you max out the Leech Seed, it works on that heal. And then you can just heal up your teammates by using the Holy Locket on them. So you kind of just become a heal bot. After the Holy Locket, I recommend going into Mech. You can even go Mana Boots, which then build into the Holy Locket. After that, you can then go for the Mech, go back for the Mana Boots, and then consider Greaves, which are a buffed item now. So yeah, you can go like a heal build, and you can be very, very tanky. You can set up a lot of kills in the early game, get aggressive, and yeah, hopefully pop off. Next up, let's talk about Viper's Ags. I think Viper's a bit of a suspect hero, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I've seen a couple players try out the Ags, and apparently it's not that bad. If you don't know what Viper's Ags is, so basically what this ability does is Viper flies up, slams into the ground, and in a 500 AoE, he disarms for 4 seconds. But everyone in a 1200 AoE gets hit by Corrosive Skin. And you might be like, oh, that doesn't seem like a big deal, but Corrosive Skin is not that bad of an ability, especially considering at level 10, they buffed his Corrosive Skin damage per second talent, which brings Corrosive Skin damage per second from 32 to 50. It is a 4-second duration, which means that in AoE, you're doing 200 damage. That's not bad. Also keep in mind this Ags does another thing. Corrosive Skin applies double the damage and attack speed slow to enemies that are within 500 distance of Viper. So basically you become very, very tanky, and on top of that, Corrosive Skin can do 100 damage per second which is an insane number when you think about it in an AoE to enemies who are very close to you. And when you're nosediving into them, naturally they're going to be very, very close to you. So it's pretty cool. It definitely has some viability. It makes you quite tanky. Now, I wouldn't rush it. I would go Treads, Wand, Dragonlance into Ags, something like that, and it can work, right? It's pretty cool. You can also take your Magic Resist talent at level 15, which makes you even tankier, and you can go this like tank build, which is definitely, it's viable, it's cool, and it's interesting. And finally, I'm gonna go quick on this one because actually nothing changed about this hero, but they removed Wraith Pact, so I think Beastmaster 3 is good because he buys the Vlads, which is still a good item, and then he buys his Helm Dom, which I think is in a pretty good place, and then he buys Helm Dom 2, and so he gets to build Vlads, be a unit hero, and a lot of the other unit heroes got nerfed because of the Wraith Pact nerf, but Beastmaster didn't get touched from that because he wouldn't typically buy Wraith Pact, so yeah. Definitely consider Beastmaster very, very, very powerful hero. If you get good at it. Very hard hero. Okay, you gotta learn how to flash farm. This hero is strong because you can flash farm. The Helm 2 lets you farm faster than like any hero in the game. If you can't do that, your hero's shit. It's not gonna do anything. But alright, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoy this. Hopefully you actually find some builds to try on this patch. I'm praying to Gaben. I'm praying to the Lord that there's another patch coming soon, and this is just like a in-between patch, I hope. 7.32D, I hope there's 7.33 coming soon, or something. 8, I hope they do 8, I pray, because this patch... Alright, I'll see you guys in the next one, and I'm out. Peace!
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website, where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace!